Today we're gonna code lots with Mr. Kim Philpotts, and oh how amazing you'll be.
Well, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome back. So it's Friday, and that means it's time for another Xamarin.Forms UI challenge. And we're continuing on where we were last time. So thanks for joining us. If you're out there, how's everyone going? Hopefully well. All right. Hey, Drew. I'm good, thanks. I'm in the middle of house renovations, so I'm busy, but but you know, hopefully at the other end I'll end up with a nice house. Drew, you've been studying all day for your computer science classes, getting ready for next semester. Yeah, I'm actually in the process of enrolling my children in a new school, so that's interesting as well. But cool. I hope, Drew, I hope your studies go well. Alrighty, let's have a look and see what we're going to do today. So the thing that we're working on is the Xamarin.Forms UI challenge. We worked on it for a little bit actually, but I did have a couple of weeks off. I'm still shocked you hated discrete maths, but loved algorithms. Well, it's probably because algorithms make more sense to me and I kind of suck at maths. But I wish I didn't. So what we're working on is this challenge here. Let me bring this up onto the screen here. Let's have a look at basically the flow of what we have. Okay, so this is the UI design. So we have a nice little scrolling list. Just as a reminder, that sort of pops up, and then we have this section here as well. And then this section here. Beautiful. So Drew, did I find data structures easy? Probably, yeah. As I recall, I did find it easy. Oh my goodness.
Today we're gonna code lots with Mr. Kim Philpotts, and oh how amazing you'll be.
Fantastic. Why be a dragon? I think I've got that right now. Thank you so much for subscribing. Or resubscribing for 6 months. That's amazing. Thank you so much. And I know I spent a lot of time saying, why bad dragon, but why be a dragon is how it should be. Beautiful. Yeah, so like I said, thank you so much for that. All right, fantastic. All right, Drew says, if you get linked lists, you know how trees work. Yeah, I think, you know, for me, I'm a pretty practical dev. I don't get into theory too much. So for me, things like data structures were very practical. So that's why I like them. And they sort of help you. I actually kind of wish I kept, you know, keep studying data structures more and more. But yeah. All right, cool. The other thing as well, why be a dragon, and anyone else who's subscribed, I'm going to set up some emotes. So I'm not sure what I'm going to do yet, but I'll get those sorted out soon, probably for the new year, and then you'll have some cool emotes. So if you can think of a cool idea for a series of emotes, let me know, and I'll get them designed. All right, let's have a look at where we're at the moment. I'll put a little bit of music on, I think. How do people feel? Do you like music in the background? All right. Okay, so let's have a look at our application at the moment. We left it in kind of a little bit of a messy state, I think. But let's have a look. Let's deploy it. Let's see what we have. So we were working on the pop-up page. So we sort of had that in isolation. Dragon, you like music while you're watching streams, but you can't do it while you're listening to work. Yeah, fair enough. All right, so we had some information that we're putting together here. This was in our page. I think it's probably the product display popover. And so this is kind of what we're working on here. We have a few image buttons up the top. We have this purple background, which is just there as a placeholder at the moment, so as we can see where things are at. Down the bottom here, we have ourselves some formatted strings for these sections here. Okay, so we did use a library here from Dave. So I've called the namespace Dave, which is pretty funny. All right, now I got a few things I want to do in today's session. So in the add to cart pop-up, which is this one that we're sort of having a look at here, what I want to do is these 3 detail sections I've just copied 3 times. So we're going to like make a control out of those 3 detail sections. We're going to actually put a selected product into our view model. So as it's not just popping up some static data here. Instead, we're going to actually pull that from our product list.
Today we're gonna code lots with Mr. Kim Phil Potson. Oh, how amazing you'll be.
MJ Freelancing, thank you for the follow. Appreciate it. Very much appreciate it. Oh, hang on. Look, I'm really in a bad habit here of not recognizing people as they come through. So let's put why be a dragon. Resubscribed for 6 months. Awesome. And MJ Freelancing. Followed because you're awesome. Beautiful. All right. Where was I? So we're going to have the selected product in the view model, right? So it's not just static data that we're having here. Then we'll have a look at the animation of this. So we'll animate this pop-up coming up. So if we have a look at the design for this, when this pops up, so basically this selected item sort of expands out here. We've already done a bit of that, right? But then once it expands out, this pops up, does a few funky little things like as it pops up, this text fades in, this white panel slides into the bottom, and the button does a little jiggle at the bottom. So we'll do that as well. So that's kind of what I'm hoping to achieve today, if we can. Beautiful. All right, so we'll need the translation of the background panel. We'll have to animate in the details. We'll need to animate in the add to cart button, and also these little buttons here, changing the quantities. Let's do that as well. Okay, so probably what I'd like to do first of all actually is just put in the rest of the details. In the rest of the details. Cool. All right, and of course, you know, if you've got any suggestions as we go through on how we do things, let me know. I'm just sort of flying by the seat of my pants as you do. All right, so let's put in the rest of the details. Let's see what structure we have here at the moment. 100 bits. 100 biddies from MJ Freelancing. Look, I can see what you're trying to do here. You're trying to distract me, aren't you? Beautiful. Fantastic. Thanks for that, MJ Freelancing. Yeah, I thought so. I thought you were trying to distract me. Okay. So what we have is we've got a grid with 3 rows in here. So they are basically like this row, this here, which is taking up the rest of the space, and then the bottom one, which is our panel down the bottom here. So that's our 3 rows that we have. Get on with it. All right, so I've got our box view. This is our white one down the bottom. So that's set to 100. Sorry, to 300. We'll adjust that a little bit later on. We've got our 2 image buttons, and then we've got this grid here, which is how we're doing this bottom section down here. So we've sort of divided that into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sections, which I think is for the header, for this one, for that one. And then we've got a little bit more detail in there as well. Beautiful. Okay, so we've got our label in here. Now we don't have the selected item yet, so I'm just sort of hard coding these in, but that's all right. We've got our quantity and cost row. I'm sorry, I'm just reminding myself here of what we were doing. Hey, Travidale. How you doing? Welcome. Then we've got our stack layout with our Dave control here, which is providing us our 3 sections. Beautiful. So they're something I want to put into a control, so as I'm not duplicating that each 3 times. And then I think down the bottom, what we're going to want to do is then have probably like we need to have a stack layout down here, I think, to put in these details. Let's have a quick look at our design here. So I think this will go into a stack layout just fine, going down. And then maybe we'll do spans across here, and then we're going to have our button. Probably looking at that button, I'd suggest it's probably going to be something like a pancake view inside of there, but it also has a shadow, so maybe we'll have to do a bit of custom drawing as well. All right, cool. So let's have a look at putting in some additional details inside of here. I'm just going to remind myself what grid this is. This is that grid there. And then what we'll have is, I think we'll have a stack layout. Oh, Travidale, you have to blame me. So following your pattern of finding cool UIs and Dribble and recreating them to practice and learn. Yeah, it's a really good way of doing it, right? Because, I mean, I don't totally suck at design, but I mostly suck at design. So, so it's just a really good way of just practicing. And that's kind of what I do it for. And what I try and do here as well is I'm trying to sort of help people as well understand how to lay things out. And also just practicing for myself. And I try and keep without too many renderers. Hey, it's R2. How you doing? Let me send out a sample for R2. because
It's R2, so you can't argue with him.
can't argue with him. In fact, hey, if anyone's doing iOS 13 stuff, something I would, I can't argue with you, something I'd highly recommend having a look at, and I suspect it'll coming out in the weekly Xamarin this week, or did we do it last week? Ryan Davis. Let's have a look. Ryan Davis. .io. Thank you. Here we go. So look, if you're gonna do some iOS 13 work, which I haven't done a lot of yet, this link here, where Ryan did a presentation at our meetup here in Melbourne, was amazeballs. So go and have a look at that if you're going to do some iOS 13, because there's so much cool stuff that he covers off in there. So so check that out. I'll put a link into the chat as well. Beautiful. All right, cool. What am I doing? I'm going to go and put a stack layout in here in grid row 3. All right, and then what I'm going to do here is put in some labels. Let's have a look at what we need. So basically, these ones here contained a description, and then this here. So I don't know what you guys think. I think that probably for this, like I said, probably a label, a single label. I could do it with a stack layout that goes that way and just have 4 different elements, but I don't know. People like formatted strings, so let's give that a go. Okay, so first of all, let's put a label in here, and we'll put a text in here. What does it say? It says something like, let me bring it up here so I can see what it says. Contained in glass polygonal. Wow, I have no idea what that is. All right, so we've got a stack layout in there. Let's see if my hot reload's going to work. One unsupported edit. Did I break something already? So Dragon, yeah, you keep forgetting formatted string is a thing. Yeah. And then you've got a property in your view model that concatenates things together. Yeah, which I suppose, it works. Let me just see what's going on here.
Sometimes things don't work.
What do we got here? Oh, I think I what did I do here? Oh, I got rid of my Dave namespace. That's why. Not my Dave namespace. All right, let's do this, because I do like to have a bit of hot reload. Sometimes things don't work. Oh, did you hear that? That's actually a sample of Glenn Stevens saying, yeah, sometimes things don't work. And so I have that set up when my Visual Studio fails to build. It actually has Glenn Stevens telling me that that sometimes things don't work. And I've had it on for months, actually. I've kind of got used to it. All right, so there's our text. Then let's do our label, which is going to be a formatted string. And I always suck at doing these. So let's have a look. We're going to say label. We're going to have label.formatted text, which then needs a formatted string that's pretty verbose, actually. And then we have spans.
Today we're gonna code lots with Mr. Kim Philpotts, and oh, how amazing you'll be.
Hey, thanks for the follow. Virgin Navarro? I'm not sure if I said that right, but yeah, thanks for the follow and welcome. Oh, hang on. Let's not forget. Beautiful. Appreciate it. All right, back to our code here. Where's our code? All right, so we're going to need some span. So we're going to have a span. Sorry, I'm going to bring this up on my other monitor here so I can see it. So the first thing is going to have a text. It's going to have size. Beautiful. Then we're going to have a span, which is going to have our text, which is going to come from our view model once we sort that out. But for the moment, I'll just put what I'm seeing here. Okay, so we've got a size, we've got a span. Beautiful. We've got another span, which has some text. Let me bring this up the screen here a little bit. Diameter. And then we've got another span, which is the actual value here. So we'll say 190 millimeter. All right. So that's nothing particularly special. Oh, and I think we found out what we need to do with a span if we want to do spacing, because I don't think we have, we don't have margins. We don't have padding. I don't think we have padding here either. No. So if we want to add a bit of space in here, I think I'm just going to do this. Just give it a little bit of space in there. Okay, so cool. So what I want to do with that now is I want to actually create some styles. And Virgin Navarro, let me know if I'm saying that wrong, but amazing work. Thank you so much. Like I said, feel free to contribute as well as we go through. If you see me do something really dumb or you know a better way of doing things, let me know. Okay, cool. So we want to put a style in here, I think. So let me come into our app XAML. Okay, and we'll add some additional styles inside of here. So we've got, let me get that out of the way. We've got our fonts in here already. We've got some styles for header fonts and button styles. Let's add another style in here. And this can be for like our body font medium maybe. So that's for our main bit of text. We're going to target a label. Actually, is it going to target a label? Does that make sense? Or does it need to target a span? I'm not sure. Let's find out. Okay, and then we'll add some setters in here. So I'm just going to go and copy some things from here. Because copy paste is what I do best. Let's make that, I don't know, like a 12-point font, for example. What about our text color? Probably a lighter text color. Just looking at it. So we'll have text color. We'll have another color. Light text color. And let's find out what that color should be. So basically this one is one here. So let's sort of cheat here and find a color. B2s. All right, beautiful. Hi, Brian Lagunas. How are you? Is this a Prism app? No, sir, it is not. I know that must be very disappointing to you. How's your streams been going, Brian?
Today we're gonna code lots with Mr. Kim Philpotts, and oh, how amazing you'll be.
Learning something new each time? Yeah, I'm the same. I'm always learning something new. Every time I do a stream, I think I know what I'm doing. Turns out I don't.
Today we're gonna code lots.
Oh my goodness. A couple of follows have come in. Mason SF and Brian Brian Lagunas. I can cross that off my bucket list. Brian Lagunas followed me. Okay. All right, beautiful. Alrighty, what were we doing? We had a body font medium. We had some styles in there. Let's try see what happens if we assign a style here. You know, static resource, body font medium. Let's see what that did for us. Well, that stopped hot reload from working. That's interesting. I think there was a release of Hot Reload, wasn't there? A public one. I don't know if I need to update it or not.
Today we're gonna code lots with Mr. Kim Phil Potts and oh how
Sid
amazing
Mobnet.
you'll be.
Sid Mobnet. Thank you for the follow. Look, you're really making it hard for me to do my job here. But I appreciate it. How do I get all those emotes flying around? Do you want me to tell you? Let's have a look. Yeah, we'll take a little diversion here. Let me see if I can remember how I did it. My overlays. So I do it in Stream Elements. God, I got so much stuff going on in here. Just chatting to cams. Let's have a look. It's probably this one. Let's have a look. So I actually... Ah, it's Alec. How you doing? Alec in Sydney. Beautiful. All right, so I think this is what I did here, right? Just for memory, in Stream Elements, I've got an overlay, and the overlay here has basically some chat emotes on here. So this is a widget type called Capagen. Okay, so it takes the emotes from the stream, and then it basically just put in here and say chat emotes, yeah, on. I think I have an emotes explosion as well. So this basically says, hey, when I get follows or subscribers or any of this sort of stuff, do show 20 emotes. Just for fun, I could do this. Let's see what this does. I don't know if I'm using. Oh no, that might kill my system. There we are, 194 emotes. Avoiding the fires. Yeah, in Sydney, there's lots of fires going on. So good. I'm pleased you're doing that. So yeah, so that's how I do it. I don't know. It got a bit distracting. I think it starts off with like loads of emotes. So I think I pulled that value back down. Beautiful. Anyway, there we are. That's a little bit about how I do that one. Cool. Now let's see what happened with this. Okay, so we can see here it did adjust that. Let's add. We'll change that style in a moment. I think I'm finding. There we are, and then add diameter. And so what we probably want as well is we want another resource, because if we have a look at the design of what we're doing here, it's got sort of some bold text here and then some lighter text. So let's add another style into our app XAML.
Today we're gonna code lots with Mr. Kim Phil
Jim
Potts
Walker
and
the
oh,
second,
how amazing
or maybe it's Jim
you'll
Walkery.
be.
Thanks for the follow. And welcome. So is it Jim Walker-y or is it Jim Walker the second? All right. Okay, let's do this. Let's add a body font. I think this is going to break hot reload again. Let's do this. Let's do a body font light. And so we have a Montserrat light somewhere, I think. Yep, just like that. And we'll make it 12 point as well. And I think I just saved that. I reckon it's going to have killed my hot reload. Yeah, look at that. Maybe I need to report a bug. But regardless, what we're going to do is we're going to set these with that style. So that would be body font light. Yep, that's right. Let's put that in there. Let's put a body font light in there. Beautiful. Let's spin it back up again. Ah, cool. So it is Jim Walker the second. I'm just going to call you Jim if that's okay. And a quick video of what we're up to. Yeah, so while this is spinning up, let's have a quick look and let's just talk about what I do on my stream. So basically on my stream, I go ahead and pick a design from Dribble, and a couple of other people on the chat here have mentioned they're starting to do the same, which is great, just for education and practice purposes. So I'll look at a design and then I'll try and reproduce it in Xamarin.Forms. And normally I try and do it without too many custom renderers and things like that. Cool. And Dragon, you asked, have I seen Hot Restart? Yeah, I do. I have well, actually, no, not really. I've got an invite to use it, but I haven't started using it. But I do need to, because whenever I do something with like Skier Sharp or something like that, I really need a hot restart. And I know R2AU is always telling me I should just use continuous. All right, let's have a look. What do we got here? Okay, that's pretty much what we're after down there. So we've got our thicker text down here. I'm going to assign that style to this first row here as well. Beautiful. And there we are. That gives us what we're after there. Now, is it in release? I don't think Hot Restart is in release. So there's two. I'm not sure when it's in public preview. I got one because I sort of work with the team. But yeah, XAML Hot Reload is what I'm using at the moment, which is like reloading my UI most of the time. Hot Restart is when I make code changes and actually deploying that out. Okay, Hot Restart is in private preview. Hot Reload is generally available now. Yep. So if you don't use it, you should, because it make your life a whole bunch easier. And R2AU says you can sign up to a list for the preview. Awesome. Maybe for next stream, I'll get that working, or at least try. Okay. Wow. Okay. What are we doing? So we got that here. We need a button. The button that we're going to have is this one here. It's also going to animate in as well. Sort of as it comes in, it basically sort of expands out. So maybe what I'll do is I'll make that like a, let's try using good old Pancake view. What do you reckon? So we come up over here. Good old pancake view. Let's go and add that NuGet in. Say yes to all the things. All right, and then let's just try and put this in. So this is going to be in... Actually, I need to add a namespace first of all. But seeing as I have this here, I can actually run this up and I should be able to just sort of do it dynamically. So while that's loading, let's add a namespace. So what's I call this? Pancake. Add in our pancake view. Beautiful. There's nothing like changing your XAML as it's starting the project. Let's see what it does. Let's see if we can break it. Oops. That's not what I'm after. All right, cool. So let's say pancake view. We'll put this in grid row 4. And inside of that, we'll put a label in here. So this is our add to cart button. Okay, so we've got add to cart. That's probably not exactly how we want it. Let's set a background color for our element here. Okay, so we want this color here, which is this one here. Beautiful. Now, being a bad person, I'm just going to jam that straight into there. All right, so there's that button down the bottom. It's looking a little sad. So we need to adjust that, don't we? So maybe what we'll do is we'll say, let's give this a height request of say 60. Ship it. Yeah, it's ready. We'll give it a corner radius. I don't know, 10. Let's see how that looks. Yeah, it looks kind of okay. Now, interestingly, so this is where I like to look at the designs in quite a bit of detail. For example, if I go and have a look at our video here, one thing I noticed was, so this comes out, the text appears here, and that sort of size is out there as well. So I think the button and the label on the button are kind of independent. So we can do that. We could, inside of our pancake, say have a label. Actually, I don't think I don't know if we want it in here anyway. What am I doing? I've already got it there. So let's put this in. Let's just do this. Let's say horizontal options, let's center it. Vertical options, let's center it as well. Beautiful. All right. I'll just mock out what we're after here. So we're after, oops, not our text color is white. Beautiful. Maybe our font size is, I don't know, something like 20. Yeah, it looks about right. Okay. Oh, look at that. Talking of ship it, that's basically pulled this off the top here. So that's not very cool. So let's go and grab some of these elements here. All right, before we do that, let's go and have a look at that background panel, which is white. Okay, so this is what we're doing here. This box view here is this background panel. I don't think I want this to have a height request of 300. I think what I really want is, we say that's fill, and we get rid of the height request. I think that's gonna, yeah, there we are. That's gonna fix that up. So now it's basically creating that white section as big as it needs to be here. Beautiful. And we got our corners there. Sort of looking how we want, I think. Turn the music down a little bit. Get rid of a few of these boxes here. Okay, beautiful. We'll deal with that shadow in a moment, a little bit later on. I want to adjust these buttons to make them look more like the normal buttons that they have. I should adjust some fonts and some colors here. So lots of little tweaks, you know, nothing too crazy, just different styles. All right, where to next? Where's our to-do list? Put in the rest of the details. All right, done that one. Make a control out of the 3 detail section. All right, so at the moment, what we're doing is, if we have a look here, we've got this stack layout, which is actually what we're using for here. And we just duplicated it 3 times, which is obviously a terrible thing to do. So I'm going to, I think, take this content here and put it into a content view and then add some bindable properties so that we can set it. Seems like a good idea. So I'm going to have to stop this because I'm making a code change. Add in a class here, or add in a new item. And probably what we want to do is add, say, a content view. Let's call this, I don't know, maybe an info panel. Naming is hard. Get rid of all of this content here. Instead, let's get basically this content. Wowzers. Put it in there. So here's a tool that I like to use, which is XAML Styler. So when you do something like this and it just appears all over the place, XAML Styler will clean it all up for you when you save, which is nice. All right. And so here we have that stack layout, which is vertical. We've got a font awesome font. All right. So I think what we want to do here Rock Klein, hi, how you doing? How's it terrible if I've got some duplication? Well, it's not. I mean, it's not the end of the world, but it just makes it a little bit more difficult for me to maintain this, right? Because when the designer says, you know what, I want that a little bit different, I have to do it in 3 places. And I'll never remember to do that because I'm a rubbish developer. So instead, why don't we just put it into a control? And so if I'm going to do that, there's kind of 3 things that need to happen here. We need to have our actual text for our icon. What is Dave, Faz's son? Okay, so what that is, actually, good thing you reminded me. So, because I need that namespace. Okay, let me tell you what that is. So we were doing some icon fonts last time, and PT Dave had a library which has all of the font elements. Let me have a look at what the actual package was. Can I go to... No, I can't. I was thinking, can I go to the... let's get this. Let's go NuGet PT Dave. I think it's this one here. So on the last stream, PT Dave said, hey, you know, if you're going to do some font stuff, I've already got these, all of the names and all that sort of set up. So this GitHub repo, that's the NuGet package that I brought in, basically has Xamarin.Forms helpers inside of here. So it has things like file helpers, font helper, which I'm using here. And so what that allows us to do is, instead of like working out that, you know, wacky symbol that we have in the font resource, instead we can just basically set that that glyph. And the advantage of that is that, you know, I can come in here and it'll give me IntelliSense on all of the font awesome elements, which is cool. All right. Now I think there's 3 elements of this that are going to be dynamic. One is the text here for the font icon. There's going to be the actual heading, and then there's going to be the value as well. So they're the three things that we have. So how are we going to do this? I think what we want to do is we want to create some bindable properties. And I'm never really good at creating bindable properties. I'll be honest with you. Oops. Okay. But let's go. Public. Yeah, use a code snippet. I don't think I have a code snippet. I should have a code snippet, but I'm not aware of one, Brian. I mean, I just need to create one, right? I should like do it once and just go with that. I actually used to work with somebody, type prop and see my options. Nah. No, there's no bindable property in there. Bindable property converter. Bindable property key. Oh. No, that's just telling me that. Yeah. I don't know, Brian, do you have one set up that you use? Or is that something that you have inside of your projects? You use the Prism template pack. Does it have code snippets as well? Can I do a shout out for that? Even though I, you know, Brian, like I said, you're going to be disappointed with me. Oh, David Ordenau here. Prism is dead. I know what that's about. That's about that tweet. I saw some tweets going on. This looks amazing, right? I don't use Prism because I'm a bad person. Where's a good link for this? Does it have a project page on it? Because this looks really, really cool. I think you had a blog post on it, right? What am I even doing with my life? Maybe it's in here. Ah, here, look. Prism template pack. Create a page. Use the template wizard. go and create some templates. There's probably more in here. Yeah. That's probably not the best one to look at. So shoot a link in the chat if you want, Brian. Because yeah, it looks super amazing. In fact, there we are. Somebody talking template pack with James. Anyway, whenever I tackle Prism, which should have been years ago, that looks like an amazing resource. All right. Anyway, so Dragon. Ah, there we go. Ah, app map. Create a project. Ah, man. Look at that. Go ahead. Draw out your application. Yeah, okay. I'm gonna maybe one day, Brian, I'll organize a stream and you can jump on and teach me how to use it. Now, in the meantime, let's have a look at a bindable property here. Ah, this is a code snippet. Beautiful. All right, I'm gonna bookmark that puppy. All right. How do we include snippets? Anyone know how to do snippets? I have to put it in a directory or something, don't I? Open my snippet manager. Do I have a snippet manager? I have a code snippet manager. I guess I want to import, right? Select my language. Look at this. C#. Import. Now I'm assuming I would come here. Stick this in a XAML file. Look, you know, this is like one of those things I figure is good to learn. Oh, you reckon just add it in, huh? Nah, I gotta jam it in there. I'm gonna do what all developers do. I'm gonna just ram this onto my desktop. File name has to end in snippet. Really? Ooh. Create a snippet directory. No, I just want to import, don't I? Okay, well let's do this. Man. All right. Bindable snippet. Stick it in my code snippets, even though it's not my code snippet. An expansion snippet. bprop. Bam, my property. All right, so cool. So David says, I'm excited to see this work. I usually give up the snippet manager, which is exactly what I do, David. There's evidently another extension to make this easier, but I couldn't figure it out immediately and bailed. Yeah. You know, I used to work with somebody who was really into the practice of if they did anything more than twice, they would automate it. This is the kind of thing that they would have done. Yeah. Okay, so what do we want here? We want a title. Type of string. Owner, I suppose, is the info panel. What else have we got? Our bindable property. It's already created it for me. Look at that. A bindable property. Put in the most. I'll just get rid of that comment because it didn't mean anything. All right, let's have a look. Let's see what it created for us. It created a read-only static title property. So I'll say binder property.create, the name of the property, the type, declaring type, calls property changed. And does a whole bunch of stuff, sets it up, and then calls this method. All right. I'm good with that. That seems reasonable. So what I want to do is say my title, which would be down here. I might have to give this a name, which would be this one here. Let's call this title label. So theoretically, I can say title label dot text equals new title. All right. Let's see if it works. Yeah, did the property changed automatically. Hi, Ionix Jr. Welcome. So this is the thing I love about live streaming is that like somebody will jump in and sort of slap you upside of the head and say, hey, why don't you use this? All right. Cool. Let's see if it works just for the title at the moment. So if I come back to my pop-up here, I'm going to have to add a namespace, aren't I? Add that in here. And then hopefully what I can do is I can come and grab one of these puppies. Let's say this one here. And say controls info panel. Let's give that a run, see what it does for us. Dragon. Dragon says, am I using property change.foddy? That's your favorite thing in the world. That's like your call sign. I am. I've forgotten, but yeah, I think I'm using it for these view models. So all is good.
Today we're gonna code lots with Mr. Kim Phil
Offwood.
Potson. Oh,
Thank you for the
how
follow.
amazing you'll be.
Got too many windows open. Offwood, thank you so much. Offwood. I'm also going to put a special thank you in here as well. Again, to Brian. Actually, I shouldn't say make me create a snippet. I should make me use a snippet. And let's also just find out where that snippet came from, shall we? Where did I get it from? Crikeys. can't remember. Oh, we'll look it up. Cool. All right. So I'm running this now. So the good news is here, I've got this displaying. So my theory says that I should now be able to have a title property, and I should say, hi bindable. And look at that. It updated. It's probably a bit small for everyone, but there. Approved. So Umit, can I unfollow you and then follow you to see the cool animation and hear the music? I'm not sure that you can, but I can just play the music.
Today we're gonna code lots with Mr. Kim Philpotson. Oh, how amazing you'll be.
So that's great. All right, cool. All right. So what that tells me
Today
then.
we're gonna code lots with Mr. Kim Philpotson. Oh, how amazing you'll be.
Fantastic. And thank you for the follow. Who was that? That was Gen 2 Games. Welcome. R2AU, you're prominently celebrated on the Xamarin.net community stand-up today. As R2AU should be, by the way. He does amazing stuff. Amazing stuff. I'm a huge fan. Okay, humidity. Great. All right. So now what I'll do is I'll come back into here and let's see if our B prop works. Yeah, lots of follows today, which is amazing. All right, let's try B prop again. Oh, I'm running. So let's see how this goes. Okay, so my property. Let's add a title icon. Let me get this out of the way for you so you can see it. So it's going to be a type of string. The owner is going to be the info panel. A bindable property. Yeah, okay. That's not a very useful comment, is it? And I'm running, so it's gonna bark at me. All right, so I'll add in the other one as well now as well, which would be the actual details. So let's call this, I don't know, what should we call it? We'll call it the value maybe. Okay, which is going to be a type of string as well. Info panel. Bindable property. You know, that makes it so easy. All right, so now I need to give some names to these things. So let's... so this will be a title icon. Label, perhaps. Might be a title icon span, I think. And... this would be our value label. Zoinks. All right. So now what I want to do is when our value changes, let's get our value label dot text equals a new value. And title icon, we'll say our title icon dot text equals new title icon. Title icon dot text, no. What was our title icon? What am I doing? How do I like on span? All right. So I think with that, we should have that working. And I can replace all of those horrible bits that I've duplicated with something much cooler. Wait for it to spin up. Are you spun up yet? Okay, so now instead of like all of this code and all of this code and all of this code, I can now just have 3 info panels. So I'll have a title, I have an icon, which of course I can't remember. What would it be? Ecstatic. Ecstatic. Who remembers how to do an ecstatic these days? Is it static? Maybe it's just static. Maybe I don't need that. Static. Dave. My Dave library. No, where's my IntelliSense? What did I use? Ah, there we go. So this is my humidity, which should have, what would it be? It would be, oh, I wish I hadn't deleted that code. My God, what a mess. Let me have a look at the history on this bad boy. Here we go. What have we got? We got a sun. That's what it is. A sun. And we also had a value, which again, we're not pulling this from a view model at the moment. So we'll just put in 50 to 75%. And let's just see whether it blows up on us. No, didn't blow up. And it took the values. Beautiful. So now I should be able to just like basically duplicate that, because I'm copying and pasting.
Shame. Shame. Shame.
Column 1. Looking back at our design, let me see what that is. The light. Our humidity should be. So this one is light. I'll have to update this view model in a second. But for the moment, while we're just doing some design, let's just do this. Beautiful. And that put that in there. Amazing. No, not water. Is it a drop? No, let's just leave it as sun for the moment. All right. What am I doing?
Shame. Shame. Shame.
And this will be thermometer empty, maybe? Yep, that'll do it. And let's put in 18 to 27. And I'm going to use a symbol here. Yes, really. Windows dot. It's not going to localize well, is it? we are. We have some values in there. I need a new thing. What's my just trying to remember what I have to go to Font Awesome, aren't I? Tint, it's called. Okay. Let's go and make this dot tint. Tint. There we go. And all going well. There we are. We have our humidity, we got our light, we got our temperature. Beautiful. Fantastic. President Not Sure. How you doing? Yeah, this is one of my favorite things. Here's my two favorite Windows shortcuts. Yeah, like Windows dot, which brings up the emoji window, which is cool because you can do a shrug real easy. And also Windows Shift S, which allows you to capture part of the screen. I don't know what's going to do when I'm on stream, but if I go Windows Shift S, I can go and select a part of the screen and then copy it to my clipboard. Beautiful. All right. Where to next? Sometimes I really wish I had a plan coming in to a stream. Make a control out of the 3 detail section. Booyah. Done. Used a bindable property. Snippet. Win. All right. Oh, cool. President Not Sure, doing well. Love it. Love it. Good to see you back. Yeah, they're good shortcuts. Good shortcuts for sure. All right, a selected product in the view model. So this is where things are going to get interesting because Dragon's done a table flip. I love it. It's where things are going to get interesting because I'm going to put the selected product into the view model, and we got somebody like Brian, perhaps, who's still here, who's going to rage at me about how I do MVVM. But you know what? I'm good with that. I'm good with that. Okay, so this is how I'm going to roll. Oh dear. Yeah, Brian. So now I've piqued his attention. Yeah, exactly. So he's just going to be like, "Yeah, you're a clown." This is what he's going to do. He's going to call me a clown. iPhone 5. That's a good question. Artimo, you must have went and watched the community stand up. Okay, so what I got is I got this main view model, right? The main view model, I'm not pulling any of the stuff from a database, right? So I've got a main view model which has a collection of products, right? They are product view models, so that should make Brian at least a little bit happy. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have a product view model, which is going to be my selected view model. Something like that, right? And then I'm going to have a property. And this is going to be a product view model. And this is going to be called selected view model. No, not selected view model. It's not selected view model at all. It's selected product. You know what? Code snippet again. I'm going to be a more efficient prop full. Brian Lagunas coming through with the goods. That's great. Let's create our property. What's our property called? This will be called my selected product. Hey, why did it change the product view model? Selected product.
Today we're gonna code lots with Mr. Kim Philpotts, and oh how amazing.
Hey, Yawn 69. Thanks for the follow. Let's put a thanks in there. Yawn 69. So, Yawn, in case you're wondering what we're doing, I'm getting schooled on a whole bunch of shortcuts for Visual Studio. Creating some bindable properties, and right now I'm setting up a bindable property. But what we're ultimately doing is we're trying to reproduce a UI in Xamarin.Forms, which is this one here, which is, wait on, let me see whether I've updated my thing. Yeah, which is that link there. So that's where I should actually call this out, because, you know, I don't design these things myself because I'm not that good a designer. This was done by Outcrowd on Dribble, and my job is to just try and replicate it basically. Okay, so I've got this selected product, right? Which is basically being set here. Now this is not going to raise a property change notification, is it? So I'm using refactored MVVM helpers, which is James's little MVVM helper library. So this will raise a property change for me. And this is where Dragon jumps in and says, why aren't you just using Foddy? All right, so cool. That's my selected product. So what we want to do is we want to be able to use that Yes, I've got property Foddy. So I could theoretically just make that a public property. That's true. And it would actually deal with it for me. Let's have a look at what were we even trying to do here? Select a product in the view model. Okay. The reason we need that is because when we go and we click on an item, we want to set the selected product. Okay, so let's have a look at what our page is doing. So our page, basically the place where we go and get, where we have all of our products listed, is here. It's in a flex layout, has an item template, data template inside of here, and we've just got a tap gesture recognizer, which again is going to cause some people some grief. All right, so set the binding context of the selected cell. Let's be clear on what we're doing here. Well, more to the point, let me remind myself what I'm doing here. And that is, let me get rid of a product display popover for the moment. And let's have a look at what all of that code was about. All right, what all that code was about, here's our screen, right? So as we scroll up, it hides that part of the screen. When we scroll down, it reappears. When I tap on one of these, okay, I'm actually removing this item from, or actually what I'm doing is I'm making this item invisible, and then creating a fake cell which sits exactly over the top of this and expands out. Right, let's see if that's still working. So it basically expands out like so. Okay, so that's what's doing that animation for me there. All right, so what we're then going to do is, because I need to know the selected cell in my pop-up that appears, that's why we're doing that selected cell. Cool. Hope that makes sense. All right, so we've got this product display popover, and we're going to need to set it's going to want to have the selected property. Yeah, no, it's so it's kind of like a trick I used earlier on in a stream. I basically got the same element, this fake product cell, which is the same as one of the elements that I have inside of here. It's a product display. And when I tap on one of those elements, it literally just comes in here and says, hey, well, let's set the binding context to the same binding context, which is actually, I think, the main view model. And then, oops, it basically works out the location of the element. Okay. And then it basically goes and sets its absolute bounds to be exactly over the other one. And then it calls a method called expand to fill, which then just goes and works out how big the destination rec should be, and then just does some animations to translate the layout to be the full screen.
Today we're gonna code lots with Mr. Kim.
Russians.
Oh, how amazing.
Welcome and thanks for the follow. It's like a follow fest today, which I totally appreciate. Thanks for being awesome and following. So I'm wondering, actually, here's a question. So a lot of people follow today. If any of them are still online, or maybe they've just gone, I'm out of here. But if you are you're all doing Xamarin.Forms work? Like, I'm just interested, like people who join in, are you starting out Xamarin.Forms? Yeah, Dragon, I know you're doing Xamarin.Forms work. How many people are just starting with Xamarin.Forms? Brian, you do a little bit here and there. Alareza? Yes. Travidar, 4 years in. Will I add this to my GitHub? I will. Yep. MJ freelancing. Only personal projects. Started a few months ago. 8 months in Xamarin.Forms. So you're on 69. Yes, is the simple answer. Now, actually, before I jump into this, let me just come over here. Let me show you my GitHub, because this is where I do all these challenges. So basically, I put them onto here. So I think all of these ones that are here are all Xamarin.Forms challenges I've done in the past. So I basically put all the code in there. What I need to do is I need to put it into snippets, which I can never remember. Another great place to get information. Oops, that's the blog. Snippets.dev. So like that for example is one of them. But you know, if a few people mentioned that they are doing some of these Xamarin.Forms UI challenges, make sure you add them in here. I've been pretty bad at it, but yeah, add them in here, and you can basically come through here and you can, you know, click on one of these, and then it should go and give you a link out to the GitHub. And so that's an example of one of those I've done. Cool. So Yawn69, short answer, yes, I'm putting him in GitHub. And there's lots of other ones in there as well. All right. Yawn69, so you've been doing it for about a year and a half. You've done a few bug fixes. You mean to the Xamarin.Forms core code base? Because that's awesome. I can't claim to have ever contributed back to the to Xamarin.Forms, which is embarrassing. All right, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to give this a name, all right? Because I'm going to want to do some things with this page popover. Now, before I do that, I've been going for about an hour and a half. I was thinking I might just take a quick 5-minute bio break, if that's all right with everyone. It doesn't really matter. I'm going to take a bio break. So hopefully that's okay. The usual thing that happens, you know, so if you leave while I'm away, you get banned. That's not true. All right, but let me take a quick 5-minute break. I'll throw a timer on there, and I'll see you back shortly. All right. Let's cut that short. Some chat. Yeah, R2, I was totally serious. Good coder 82. You're done. You're dead to me. No, not really. Yawn 69. It's 12:30. So good name for that. Hey, Glenn Stevens.
Today we're gonna code lots with Mr. Kim Phil Potson. Oh, how amazing you'll be.
That, of course, is the amazing Glenn Stevens who recorded that for me. Okay, cool. What were we doing? We were going to make this pop up, right? So we got a page pop over. Cool. Now, what are we going to do with that? We're going to basically try and make this this pop-up go. Oh, Ionix Jr. is now hosting me. Dragon, you never get snacks. I actually had a Vegemite sandwich while I was gone because I'm Australian. We lost 5 followers, so I'm going to find those 5 people. 5 people watching left. All right, cool. So. This is where I got to try and kind of remember what I'm trying to do here. Okay, so in our main page, Dragon, you've never heard of Vegemite until last week. Sweet Lord. All right. So down here, what are we doing? We're basically doing this. We got a fake product spell. So we're expanding that to fill. Okay. I don't know what redisplay is. I think this is where I'm going to display the page pop over. All right. So, Yawn69 just shared my link to the Xamarin group here on Facebook. Nah, the more the merrier, I say. Let's build UIs together. Okay, so I got my page pop over. And what I want to do is I want that to expand out the bottom. So if we have a look at our video here again, that animates up. So we want to wait for that to finish. And as soon as that finishes, we start bringing this up from the bottom. And what's interesting about this, we talked about this in the last stream, it's kind of 2 things going on here. There's this white bit that goes up the page here, okay? But all of the actual content is just in a fixed location, right? And it just becomes visible. So, so that's kind of interesting. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to have an expand method on this. Okay, so we're awaiting that to fill. We'll make this an awaitable method so we can wait for it to finish. I'm not sure if we need to at the moment, but let's go and generate this method to expand. All right. So this is here where we want it to expand the bottom section. Okay, cool. So what do we have here? We expand the bottom section. So that's a bit generic. So let's say we want to animate up the white background. We want to animate in the details. We want to also want to animate the button. Okay, because it does a little jiggle. Okay. Cool. So if we animate in the white background, let's have a look at the page layout for this. So this is our page display popover. Let's give that a name first of all. So this is our background, if you like. So let's give this a name. X name equals background panel. And we should just be able to do this, right? I should be able to say, let's set its translation. So the general idea here is what we'll do is this panel here is going to start translated down so as it's sort of down here below, and then it's going to animate up. That's what we'll try and do. So I should be able to say, what's it called? Background panel. Set its translation Y to begin with equal to the height of the panel. Right, so therefore it should be off the bottom of the screen. And then what we should be able to do is we should be able to translate that to 0. Right, so we can say translate to, which is an animation method, to 0x, 0y. So basically put it back where it needs to go. And it happens pretty fast. Let's make it say 200. So hopefully that will basically bring that in. We should probably try that out, shouldn't we? All right. So I'm trying to think on my feet here. That's our bottom. Let's have a look at our main page. Now, before we expand this, we actually want it to be we need to basically adjust the transparency of it. So let's say our page popover dot opacity equals 0 to start with, maybe, or at least let's make it visible. Glenn says, am I running closed captions? I think so. Let's have a look. I think it is. So if you hit the CC button down the bottom of the Twitch page, then you should see closed captions appear. Or likewise, you can turn them off. So there's a cool little plugin, if you like, for OBS that allows you to do that. Okay, so let's make that visible. It's probably you. It could be me. It could be me. Mostly, I blame myself for things. Okay, so we're going to expand that out. Let's see what happens when I run this.
Sometimes things don't work.
That is also Glenn Stevens. Not everything returns a task. I don't know that I'm going to return a task out of here. It's more like an async void. Let's put in a discard there. think I have this still visible, which is probably not what I want. So wait until this spins up. Let's see if we can do this with our live reload. No. Oh, yes. All right, cool. So what happens here now? If I click this. Wow. Whole bunch of nothing. What did I break? What did I break? Live coding, people. This is how it rolls. Let's just check before I do that to see whether this works. Okay, yeah, beautiful. There it goes. Now, as soon as I change this, oh, I think I know what this is. So let me just do that, for example. Even get rid of that. Right, this is a little bit sudden, but it's kind of there. Let's get rid of that purple background. Which is this one here. All right. Wow. Okay. So I think what's happening here is we're expanding that cell out, right? But what we're doing, we're doing that with an absolute layout, or we're doing a layout 2. Let's have a look. We're doing that with a layout. So this expand to fill goes and does a layout 2. Okay, so it's basically adjusting the layout here. But I think what I need to do is once that's done, I need to actually set its layout bounds as well. Otherwise, it's going to reset. Let's try this. Let's say absolute layout, set layout bounds of this. To the bounds that we have. Okay, so what's a bounds these days? Is it a rect? Okay, let's see if that fixes our issue. Boop, 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 boop. I really don't do enough work with absolute layout. I don't know if anyone loves absolute layout. It's got its purpose. Beautiful. All right. That's what I wanted. Of course, I got no way to close this, which is cool. Not. So I need to basically put that button in there to hide this as well. So let's do this. Let's get our back arrow here. Display pop over. Okay, and we want to hide the pop over here. So let's just create a method. Make an async void, which is terrible, but what we're going to do is hide this. So what do I need to do? I need to, actually there's two parts to this. Just trying to think what I would want to do here. What I really need to do is I need to get the parent page. And get the parent page because there's actually two parts going on here. There's the actual there's two elements. So hide the popover. So one way I could do this, I can create a method which actually goes and finds the parent page and then call a method on it. We do that. Okay. So let's create ourselves a little method here. In fact, I'm gonna search a bit of code here. Because I've seen a bit of code here before which does this. This one here, it's basically going to get the parent page for a visual element. Let's add that in. So let's add ourselves some extension methods. Has anyone told me I look like a young version of Jeremy Clarkson? Nobody's ever told me that before. But it does worry me for what I'm going to look like when I get older. But no, you're the first person who's ever told me that. Hopefully, it doesn't mean I'm such a big asshole, but because Jeremy Clarkson can be pretty obnoxious. Somebody told me I was the Bob Ross of coding. I don't know what that means. I think it's because I make lots of mistakes. All right, so hopefully now I can say get parent page using our extension method. So getting the parent page of this, and from here, what I could do is, I don't know if this is a good way of doing it. I suspect it's not. I'll refactor this later on. Yeah, the code still compiles amazingly. So I think I'm going to get the parent page to hide the popover. I feel this is a terrible way of doing it. It's all right. We can fix it. Refactoring is a thing, right? Let's move this down to the bottom. All right. And so what we'll do in the hide popover, we've got to do a couple of things. We need to, because this is the problem, we need to hide our fake product cell. And we also need to hide our page popover. All right, so that would basically mean I should be able to say fake product cell dot is visible equals false. And our page popover, set that to is visible equals false as well. Probably we want it to fade out before it goes invisible. So let's do this. Fade out the elements. All right. So I kind of want to do, let's do this. Let's see if this works. I'll make this an async method. And then we'll wait for them to fade out and then we'll hide them. So I'm going to go to try this task.whenAll. So I'm going to wait for, create a couple of tasks, right? Because the animation methods are tasks. So I should say like fake product cell dot fade to 0. And also my page popover fade to 0 as well. Oops. All right. So what that should do is it should wait until both of those elements fade out. And then we'll go and we'll hide them. Let's see if it works. It's kind of how I write code. Just like ram in some code. Does it work? Great. So it's getting pretty close to Christmas too, which is cool. All right, let's brought that up. Beautiful. All right, clearly I'm breaking something there. I'm probably, because I'm setting it opacity of 0 as well, that's going to be a problem for us. So I think what we'll need to do is in our main page here. Yeah, we want to make that opacity of 0, which probably will be anyway. We want to do our popover. Ah, cool. Hi, XVTSX. What am I working on? What I'm working on is what I normally work on a Friday, which is basically taking some designs from Dribble. So in this case, let me get that link here for you. So basically this Dribble design here, right, which is done by Outcrowd. And then we're using Xamarin.Forms to try and replicate this UI. So it's just a way of practicing Xamarin.Forms layouts, essentially. That's what we're doing. And then you know, I put these videos up on my YouTube, which I don't even know what my YouTube link is anymore. Maybe it's this one. No, that's not even me. What is that? It's probably this one here. There we are. And I basically put together a series, and I just sort of live code through doing different things. But for the moment, we're basically working on this UI. Okay, cool. So we now have our expand method, which is doing not a lot at the moment. It's animating in our background from the bottom. Let's see if that works. I think what I need to do is abstract out this whole idea of a popover into a bit more of a reusable control. Okay, cool. All right. So I think the problem there is that even it's actually displaying it. I just haven't changed the opacity. Brian Lagunas. Salsa lessons. That's awesome. Oh, well, go and dance away. Thanks for joining us, Brian. And I might reach out to you and we'll do some MVVM. Bit of Prism. But yeah, have fun. I love salsa. Great on chips. I suspect it might be a different kind of salsa. All right. So I think what I need to do is I need to say this dot opacity equals 1. And I think I need to do that right at the beginning.
Today we're gonna code lots with Mr. Kim Philpotson.
Hey, XVTSX. Thank you for the follow. So yeah, this is a Friday thing. So normally I do it this time on Friday, but thank you, appreciate it. XVTSX. And I just try and keep a track here, because what I do intend to do more of is on my blog, I put these Xamarin.Forms UI challenges in here as well, and sort of just talk about how I do various things. And my intention is to put people's names in that support the channel. Anyway, cool. So I set my opacity to 1.
Today we're gonna code lots with Mr. Kim Philpotson. Oh,
Philippe
how
Baltazar.
amazing you'll be.
Thank you very much. Welcome. It's like a real follow train. Actually, down the bottom of the screen, there's a follow train. I put, like, if you look over there, see how it counts down? There's 2 follows. I don't know if that's a good thing or not. And Dragon, you implemented unzone flip animation recently. Great. Yeah, it's pretty nice effect, actually. All right, what am I doing here? I'm setting my opacity to 1. I'm translating that up from the bottom. Cool. This is more like my setup here. Setting my opacity. I'm on for today. Do you feel like you're making progress with all the follows? I do. It's nice to get follows, because, like, it's nice. What I like about these live coding sessions is you learn things. Like, I don't know if you're around before, but Brian Lagunas was on and, like, slapped me upside of the head for not not having a snippet. So now I have a snippet for bindable properties. So I learn things every time. Okay, setting my opacity, I'm setting the translation, I'm translating that up. So I think now it should probably appear, the text will be where it normally is, but the white will come in from the bottom. And again, this would be a really good reason to have hot restart, right? Because I could make these changes and hopefully it would take. But I don't have that at the moment. Okay, cool. Wow. Okay, so something I'm not setting my opacity on here. That's appearing. Okay. Cool. So my guess here would be what I'm doing is I'm not setting the opacity correctly. Right, so we clicked on expand to fill. I think I need to what do I need to do here? Page pop over opacity is 0. Setting it's visible. Expanding it out. I think maybe up here. I need to make this. I think that will fix it. We'll find out. Sorry, just checking a quick message there. Up it goes, out it goes, in it comes. Beautiful. Yeah, that's it. That's it.
Failure.
No.
Excellent.
Got my win buttons wrong. Okay, and that one comes up, that comes out. Okay, I need to fade that in, fade that button. Beautiful. All right, we're making progress. I think I'm on the right track anyway. So let's fix that bit of code that does our page popover. So we now want to animate in the details. So let's have a look at where the details are in this page. They're pretty much in this grid here, I think. Looks about right to me. So why don't we give this a name, and then so we'll call this something like product popover grid. Man, naming is hard. So we'll get this and we'll say dot dot fade to 0, maybe fade to 1. Fade to 1 over a little bit longer than our white background, maybe. We want that to come in first, so we'll say over 250 milliseconds. We want the button to, let's just check our video here. I think the button wants to come in after. Oh, my video player's died. Let video again. Okay, expands up, comes out, comes up. Pretty much we want that button to come in a similar time to that text, I suppose. So let's fade that to 1. And I suppose that means that it should also start with an opacity of 0. Hey, Matt. How you doing? Welcome. We're just doing some animation of some things here. Let's see if that gives us a result we're after. So how's things for you, Matt? Good, hopefully. Did that fade in? Not sure it did. So that's translating to there. That's fading over 250. Yeah, it's all about animations these days. So, yeah, I caught a bit of Clancy's stream earlier on. He was doing some Skier Sharp stuff. This here, I'm actually just doing, I'm doing it all with just like translations and layouts of absolute layout controls. I'm just going to make that over a longer time. And why don't we do this button as well? Now, one thing we can't do with the button, which is a little bit interesting. So if we have a look again at our video, the button, when it comes in, you see it does it goes out wide. It does a scale only along, I suppose, the x-axis. So if I give this button a name, let's come down here. Let's give this a name. Add to cart button. So when we do a scale to, it only does scale in one direction. Oh, sorry, it does it in both directions. So I could say like 1.1, but that's no good. We don't want that. Right, so we're probably gonna have to create an animation here. Pancakes, oh, always pancakes. Love pancakes. Actually, my kids have really gotten to pancakes recently. Let's go and add an animation. Beginning at 0, ending at 1. We'll say, let's create an animation. Let's get our value and put it to our, what was our button called? Add to cart button dot scale x equals our time value. Something like that. Starting at 0, ending at 1. And let's give it an easing of, I can never remember which one is the right one. Spring or bounce. No, not bounce. Spring out, maybe. Hey, Tim. How you doing? Welcome. So hopefully what that'll do is it will go from 0 to 1, but it will also do a little bit of spring as well. Did Scale 2 have some overloads? I don't think so. I feel I saw something happening where perhaps it was Steven added an overload. But I don't think I don't think it's made it out into public yet. But yeah, so if I went like add to cart button, scale 2. Yeah, it doesn't have an extension method. It doesn't have a different override, no. Different overload. But we can do it this way. This should work. So, Tim, you're saying, does the animation work only on the Android platform? No, it'll work fine on iOS, possibly even better on iOS. I just don't have my Mac plugged in at the moment, but this is a Xamarin.Forms project, so it should work fine on both iOS and Android. And, you know, I say should because often it doesn't. But we'll see how we go. Okay, so I'm going to commit this animation. We're going to do it over, I don't know, probably just 250 or actually no, it takes longer, doesn't it? So let's go like double. And this is the problem is getting animation times is pretty painful. Does it work on different size devices? I haven't tested it yet, Dragon. We will make it work on different size devices. I don't think I'll make it work on landscape, but when I get my Mac back, we'll try it on a few different size devices and fix up any code there as well. So yeah, we should definitely do that. Now let's have a look at what this is doing. This is going out, expanding. Okay. So the key parts are there. It's expanding. That's popping out, which is nice. Something not right about the timings of this. So I'm just going to watch it a few times here. So that's interesting. I feel like, yeah, I feel like, well, one thing we could do here, let's do this. Let's go and await this puppy. We'll wait until that's finished. Yeah, fading and scaling. So if we await that, then that means the button will happen straight after it. Ooh. That didn't look good. Okay, maybe what we want to do is we want to start it scaled at 0, right? Because it did this little, what it did is it came in, started out, changed its size. So let's give it an initial state. I think that will probably fix it. Is there a way to slow animations in the Android emulator? Anyone know? There we go. That's a little bit nicer. That's a little bit nicer. Matt, can't wait for hot reload for C#. I know, right? It's the missing piece. Look, that's not too bad. That's not too bad. I think I'm going to go with that for the moment. Should implement these buttons here. Actually, I should change these buttons so they look like the buttons in this thing. Why don't we quickly do that? This feels like this is not working for me. I'm going to put that over a second so I can see what it's doing. Yeah, it's definitely fading in. What do you think? How's that look? I think that's all right. Great. Okay. Well, let's call that one done for the moment. Translation of that. Animate in the details. Add to cart. So I think we've done most of what we want to do there. Yeah, we'll fine tune a little bit later on. Okay, let's change the quantities. And part of that, we also want to update the button look. Okay, and then make it update with the selected items price. So basically this price over here, when we change these values, we want that to change and that to cause that. That's the worst drawing ever. All right, let's give this a go, and then maybe we'll call it for the day, but it shouldn't take too long. Okay, so let's have a look at what our buttons actually look like. The face of a man who wasn't impressed with that animation. That is so true, man. That is so true. I'm like, yeah, I'm not convinced. You know, the problem is, that should be an emote. Maybe. The problem is that I've got what my wife calls a bitchy resting face. So when I'm thinking, I just look really angry and disappointed with the world. Which is probably why somebody also came along, would you believe this, Matt? Somebody came along and said, you look like Jeremy Clarkson. I don't know how to take that, but I'm not taking it well. But thanks for that, Matt. All right, I've just started it up again because what I want to do, and I bet your hot reload's not going to work for this either. I want to change these buttons. I think what I need to do is I need to find a better layout so I can actually work these things. So, okay, so there's a couple of buttons up here. Image buttons. No, not those ones. Here. Okay. And this is my stepper control, which I should move into a control. I'm not going to do it right now. And what I want to do with this is just use the same style as buttons as I did before. So Dragon says you've found that Hot Reload has a hard time updating views that have nested content views inside of them. Yeah, I think so too. I reckon, let's have a look. Let's see if I change this. No, it did. It worked. Okay. All right. Okay, so the way these buttons are styled, there's a background color, which is static. Let me get this out of the way here. Static resource. Button background color. Yep, that's it. It's a really, really light gray, which I'm not particularly fond of, but you know, I'm not a graphic designer, so I'm trying to replicate the design, so I'll keep it the same color. What else do we want in here? We want to set a corner radius. So yeah, it's really hard to see, isn't it? And the buttons are 48, I think. 48, and let's go vertical options of center and horizontal options of center. Okay, so that's our button there. Beautiful. Let's use a different character for this. Let's see if we can do this. I think there's a bigger minus. Yeah. It's a slightly different. It's not just the dash. There's actually a minus symbol. And let's try this. Font size equals 20. There we are. That looks better. All right. So I've got all this stuff in here. Being a horrible human, I'm just going to go and put those in here. There we are. So now we've got our plus and our minus buttons.
Today we're gonna code lots.
Hey, Drolly.
Mr. Kim, Phil,
Welcome.
Oh, how amazing you'll be.
I've had a lot of follows today, which I really appreciate. Thank you. All right. Yeah, welcome. Welcome, welcome. All right. So what are we going to do here? Actually, there's something else I want to change as well. I want to change... I want to change that so that it looks a little bit more like what we have in here. So Matt says there's a plus symbol that looks better than the plus. Oh, cool. Well, let's find out. I used it when creating the new material steppers. You're the bomb. All right, let's try it. Bring up the emoji keyboard. Windows dot, as we talked about earlier. That one. Ooh, it's a bigger, better plus. So let's have a look. Windows dot. That plus. think it must be the one you're talking about, Matt. Yeah, it's the only other plus I see. All right, let's go with that one. All right, so we got some nice plus buttons here. We want to adjust the style of this. Now, we did this on the product page, the product control, product display. So just to add what we want is we want the dollar sign to appear a little bit smaller. Yeah, that's right. I remember this discussion we had. So one thing that would kind of make sense, right? If you want to have like $20, for example, and you want that to line up at the top, right? You can't do it with a span, as best I can tell, because you can't top align the text. And so the way that we did it was we had a horizontal stack layout. And then we basically align things to the start, which is the top. And then we went with that. So let's do something similar. And Matt's got a link, to the stepper. Oh yeah, that's a different plus. That's definitely a different plus. All right. Let's use the power of copy paste.
Shame. Shame. Shame.
Yeah, I'm not sure if I had that one either. In fact, I'm getting so tired, I'm not even sure where I am. No, that's definitely a different one. Yeah, that's a different one. Oh, yeah. No worries. Thanks, Matt. There we are. Look at that. My plus sign's heaps better. Thank you. All right. Let's not muck around. Let's just get this done. So what are we doing? We're stealing this little stack layout here. This same sort of idea with our product popover where we have our dollar sign. So here, get this out of here for the moment. Actually, I could run this while I'm doing this. We'll set this into grid column. Whoa. Equals 2. Yeah, take care, Matt. Okie dokie. So we'll say this is in grid column 1. We don't want to bind that price for the moment. Let's just put 19 in there. And we'll make this like a header font light as well. Let's hide this one for a second. That didn't work very well. That's because I don't want it to be white. Okay, that's a big one, isn't it? That's a big one. Let's get the same font size that we have here. We've got a 20 font. Yep, That'd be better. No, it wouldn't. It's because I'm got the wrong one. Header font light. So do a header font light. Let's get rid of that. There we are. That's a little bit better. Beautiful. There we go. That's a little bit nicer as well. Let's add a bit of padding in between them. No, that's not it. A bit of spacing is what I really meant. So Dragon says, could you do a 2x2 grid and make the second column the amount and rows span 2? Wouldn't the $sign overlap then? I mean, probably there's lots of different ways you could probably achieve this. I feel like there's a custom control waiting to be written here for this, or a custom label. But look, that's about right. So let's go vertical options, center, and horizontal options of center. Oop, put it over there. Looks about right. All right, and let's just make this work. Okay, so actually, one thing we should be able to do now, because we have a selected item, don't we? So what you're saying there, Dragon, is we have a 2x2 grid. The $signs goes in row 1, column 1. Yep. Price goes in row 1, column 2. Oh, I see what you're saying. And then it has a row span of 2. So you're saying it goes like here, like 2. Yeah, I think that would work. I don't know which is more efficient though. Probably a stack layout's a little more efficient. But yeah, I think you can totally do that. Let's go with this one for later on, for the moment. Because I think it's already working for us. And maybe we'll loop back and change it a little later. Okay, so I've got our amount here. That's what I was going to say. We actually have this selected item now. So let's see if I can, for example, get this text from my binding. Selected product dot name. No. Okay, and I bet that's because we haven't actually set the selected product. So in our main page, when we select our item here, where we set the binding context, we also want to set the binding, set the selected item. Okay, so we're gonna. So we can do it with a formatted string. Now there's a problem with a formatted string, and that is you can't adjust. If you do a formatted string, the $sign won't appear at the right height, and you can't control it. That's, I think we did that in a previous one. We tried that out, and it didn't work for us. I mean, it'd be awesome if we could, but I don't think it works. So let's get the binding context view model. And then we'll say the selected product equals, what's it going to equal? It's going to equal our element binding context, because our element is an individual element, and that is a product. So if I say that, it's a binding context. as a product view model. Yeah, Dragon says it'd be great if there was an is superscript. There isn't, though, I don't think. Maybe there is. Or on a span, maybe. That would be really nice. So hopefully now... Yeah, look at that. Our binding context is fixed. Beautiful. So we now have sky blue, green life. Yeah, cool. Which means now I know how much it costs as well. So I can go and get the selected one. And I should be able to put some code behind these buttons to go and get the value times the quantity. Beautiful. Now I'm just going to add a couple of methods here. I'll go and refactor these later on, give them better names. Let's do it now, actually. Increase quantity. Okay. So I've got a question. I have a question. If I gave some project in Xamarin.Forms, how much you should get from the client? Do you mean in terms of the design? Is this a design question? How much should... Let me know what you mean. Do you mean, is this a design question? How much should you be getting from your customers in terms of the layouts and things like that? Or is it more a question about, I don't know. Yeah, okay, cool. So what I always do, here's an example. Let me open up my Gmail here for a second. Except I'm gonna hide it from you because you don't need to see all my email. I'll show an example of how I normally work with customers. My emails are just full of house renovation stuff. Let's see if this will... The very first thing I always do with customers is actually go and get screen flows, right? So for example, this is a product I'm going to be working on soon. I'm going to develop it with a few people on stream. So because at some point I've got to stop doing just UI designs and actually develop full products on stream. So what I normally do, this is an example of something which will scan scripts for pharmacies, right? So I will work with somebody. In this case, it's in Figma. Normally I use Adobe XD, but I will work with them to get the screen flows as they should be. And then as you can see, I'll have comments here as well for basically how I do it. And so before I start any code, I will at least have a mock-up like this. And I'll work with the customer before I write any code. get this working, and then that gives the customer a very good idea of what they're going to get. And also, also means that when I'm developing this, I'm not just making it up as I go. So yeah, that's kind of normally how I work with things. And you can also, do click-throughs and things like that as well. Yeah, so decryptor. I find stuff like this helps the customer flesh out what they want and saves you time. Yeah, and it also introduces some really interesting questions as well, because what I've found is customers only, I shouldn't generalize, but I found a lot of customers can't visualize what the app's going to look like. And I've never done big like Word documents for specs, because I don't think they're really very meaningful, but something like this will give them a very clear idea of, go from this screen to this screen, etc. But also what it does as well is it also, like when I was looking at this, I was like, okay, so the idea of this app, for example, is it's going to be scanning scripts and submitting them to pharmacies, right? So cool, you've got an onboarding page. Yep. All good. And then here, it goes to a page which has a barcode scanner, right? But then I was like, so with all of the modern platforms, you have to ask for permission, right? If you're going to use the camera. So my point was, well, if I'm going from this page and I want to show an image here, I have to have already asked for permissions. And I hate asking people for permissions when they first go into an application, because often they'll say no. So permissions to use the camera. And so that sort of helps me work out that workflow and say, do we really want to go straight into a camera view? Might not be a good idea. So yeah. So anyway, yeah. So actually, as a sneak preview, this is, I'm currently working with the customer at the moment to flesh out these designs. But once I've done that, I'm going to build this app on stream, and it's going to be like a real app with, best practice. So anyway, that's interesting. Okay, Naweed, can we have the same animation effects like we did here for the fake product cell view, but for another page? The reason might be that we don't want to put all this complex logic in the same page and instead have a separate view model for the page. Absolutely, you could. Yep. You totally could. This one's a little bit interesting, and I don't actually like the way I've got this structured at the moment, so I'll probably change it. But I'll tell you why a lot of this stuff is sort of hooked together like this. And that is, if we have a look at the design, right? We've got our main page, right? Cool. Here, what it's doing is expands out. Right, and this part of the page at the top, right, is kind of a little bit independent of what goes on down here, right? So it sort of sits there, because what you'll see is that goes up, and even here when they hit add to cart, right, it sort of expands out, and it's all still the same page. So technically, yes, you could. What I prefer to do is put things in, like what I should be doing is putting this in a control, and then you can have a view model behind a control. Yeah. But yeah, you totally can. You can put that, and like I said, there's far too much complex logic going on in this app at the moment behind the pages. Yeah. Cool. So, Alareza, what's the average price for a Xamarin.Forms app? I don't really know, to tell you the truth. I think it's, I think I'd be looking at hourly rates maybe, unless you're doing a fixed price. So I don't know, maybe some other people on the chat who develop apps, maybe you've got some better advice. Because I actually work for Microsoft, I actually don't build apps for other people a lot. And the app that I will be building will just be a free one. I'm just going to do it for love. Yeah, but you know, every app, I think Decryptor is spot on there. Every application is different. And sometimes, you know, like it's just like any development, right? Sometimes you'll have something really simple and it will just take you days to get it working. So I think it's a little bit scary giving a fixed price. Yeah. President, yeah, work on an enterprise app on an hourly rate. If you can get away with an hourly rate, then that's a good idea. What I would say though works well when you're working with customers is make sure that you get continuous integration working very fast, right? So that, and you know, use something like App Center so you can do deployments to them like almost on a daily basis, because then they can see what they're getting for their money, you know, so they can see the progress of the application. And that, you know, but if you just disappear for like 2 weeks, then you come back and you say, you know, that's going to be like, you know, $5,000 or whatever it's going to be. They don't know how you've spent that time. And so it's about building up trust as well, I think. And also, you know, with any mobile application, what's going to happen, you know, I had that, that Figma screen up here. You're going to be working through this and then you're going to realize that, shit, this doesn't work. And so you're going to have to change a whole bunch of stuff. Well, hopefully not, but normally you will. And so that, that's probably going to be cost that you'd have. And Umit says he does CI/CD on the first day. Yep. And Decryptor says you second and third that should be almost immediately, right after file new. Yeah. There's Andrew Badge. I don't know what Andrew Badge is tweeting about because I can't read it. As an app developer, I've rarely had much control on my teams around what they call DevOps. Right now, really just an ops team. I think these days, DevOps is kind of like unit testing, right? In that you don't even ask permission to do CI/CD anymore. You just do it because it's just part of the job, you know? Yeah, that's the way I view it. Yeah, right. A lot of bureaucracy. But I tell you what's even worse, President Not Sure. Before CI/CD was kind of a thing, right? I worked at some companies and there was no CI/CD. And in fact, there was a few developers who would build it on their machines and deploy it. And what happened is those developers moved on and people lost the signing keys and all that sort of stuff. And so it's actually a really, really dangerous thing to do manual deployments. CI/CD I think is a bit harder than unit tests because there's costs encoded. So yeah, I might have simplified that a little bit. I think I don't know. Present Not Sure. I think you can get away with pretty much free these days. Like if you use App Center, it's pretty much free. And even VSTS is pretty much, or Azure DevOps is pretty much free, right? Yeah, free up to X build minutes, but you're probably not going to use all those build minutes, I would argue. Yeah, Umit says it's free. There is a really good, so I'm gonna be dealing with this project, right? Because it's been a while since I've built a real project. Yeah, Test Cloud costs money. It's been a while since I built a real project. And so I'm going to be struggling through this soon. And I'm going to do it live. So what I would really like to get in a position of is, and maybe one of you people who already do a lot of DevOps, maybe Umit or Decryptor or someone, what would be lovely is if there was some blogs or some documentation on, here is a file new project and the DevOps pipeline for it, so that you could literally do it in like an hour, or maybe 4 hours. You could do that. Meanwhile, Dragon, you went off on a tangent researching the superscript thing. And from what I can tell, natively in Android, you can do something like sup $, and on iOS natively, you can do something like an encoded string there using the Unicode character for $. Yeah, absolutely. I'd love to see those links. All right, let me finish this because I have to go soon. Something about doing my normal job. I think you have Android and iOS apps building apps in under 5 minutes. Yeah, but if your code's committed to GitHub, right? I agree, Decryptor, you can get it done super fast, right? The thing that I would argue though is that that's like a base level, right? Which is a good start for day one. But I think a minimum DevOps pipeline should have a dev environment, a production environment. It should have some release gates inside of there. It should run unit tests. So there's a bunch of stuff, I think, as a minimum requirement, which takes longer to build. And I'm not the expert on it, but I do plan on learning about it. Yeah, pre-prod. Yeah. So given the discussion here, I'm going to guess that most people are probably interested in that sort of stuff as well. So it might be a good thing to stream out. But if I do stream it out, just be aware that I might be doing it wrong. I'm just creating a method here just to modify my quantities. All right, so I'm just going to call a method called update display, and then what it's going to do is I'm going to have this, which is my quantity to display. So I'll call this x name equals quantity display. Cool. And then the dollar value. So that would be this one down here. Something like that, maybe. So let's have a look. Present, not sure. The worst thing about getting the necessary environments provisions, such as dev, QA, staging, production, is always production, and whatever spare bits and bobs can be cobbled together for pre-production. Yep. Agreed. Dragon, you said I should get Donovan Brown to do a co-op stream with you for the pipeline. I'd love to do that, but I'm pretty sure Donovan Brown is really busy, and I'd just be so intimidated. My imposter syndrome would go through the roof. And also I'm a fanboy, of Donovan's. So, let's have a look. So let's go get a text. We're changing the quantity. Quantity? What is that? And then let's update our dollar figure as well. Display value. Text. And here we're going to have to get we're going to have to get the unit price. And that's going to be from my main view model. Bind this dot binding context. Dot selected product dot price. All right. I'm not even concentrating. Let's see what happens. What am I doing? All right. Oh, really? Decryptor said, Clancy just went through a bunch of stuff today or yesterday setting up Azure pipelines for Comet. Beautiful. I really like the ASP.NET Core dev cycle stuff in Azure DevOps. And, well, thanks, Dragon. I think I'm going to be calling it here. Wait on. Let's see if my plus and minus buttons work.
Sometimes things don't work.
No. What happened? I think I broke something. What happened? Why doesn't it build anymore?
Sometimes things don't work.
What is my error? Oh. Increase with... Couldn't find increase quantity because I can't spell quantity. Let's try that. Yeah, no worries. Decryptor, feel free to ask questions. I kind of just see this as like a bunch of Xamarin nerds hanging out. So, so feel free to ask questions of anyone else at any time. Anyone else doing Xamarin Android native? Travidale, 99% forms. Umit, yeah, good to see you too, Umit. So yeah, and maybe I'll hit up Michael Whitehead. So I should see him at the meetup. Absolutely. Look, I know. Say for example, Glenn Stevens. Glenn Stevens does a lot of. He's not a massive fan of Xamarin.Forms, and so he tends to do things natively. Hey, my button works. Yeah, that's pretty cool. What I found is, so, you know, if you're doing Decryptor, if you're doing something in the Android designer, one thing you could do is reach out to Glenn Stevens. He does a lot of Android work using Android designer. So yeah, reach out to him, tell him Kim sent you, and maybe he can do it. Oh, Decryptor, you're on the Android. Oh, okay, well, there you go. You're on the Android designer team. So you probably know Glenn Stevens then. You were just doing customer research. I see. Now, don't I feel like an idiot? All right. Beautiful. All right. So we got a bit of progress today. let's have a look at where we're at. Hey, check out. Let's put this in the Android scene. Boop. All right. Expands out now. Get that. Get that. That's a little bit nicer. I think that that thing from Matt LeBeau about me not being convinced with the animations, I think he's right there. All right. So I think I'm going to have to sort of finish up now. Let's have a look at our to-do list. Oh, not my Gmail. Updated the button look, made it work. All right, so next time, why don't we work on... I might work on some animation. I might work on some animations while in between streams, just because it's like really boring work. But let's spend the next stream. We'll work on some other pages as well. Hey Kim, speaking of Glenn Stevens, do you know where I could find a copy of the video you guys did on memory management? So at Xamarin University, right? That's what we're talking about. Yep. Hey, I might have it archived here. Some Xamarin University classes. There we are. Here's Glenn Stevens and I doing some co-presenting. Here's my kids. iOS table views. 2 hours, 9 minutes. I'm going to guess. There we are. Here's Glenn and I talking. Oh, wait on. You can't see anything I'm doing because I'm... Here, I think this is the video you're talking about. So this is actually currently set as unlisted. So look, why don't I do this? So this is like really random stuff. My apologies for just being really random today. I'm going to put this over here in case I've got any videos you don't want to see. Let me make that public and then I'll give you a link to it. How about that? In fact, I can't find it. So I'll tell you what I'll do. Let me get this tweet here. This one here. Why don't I, in a moment, once I'm off stream, I'll make that video public and then I'll respond to this. I'm going to guess. Maybe. I don't know. Whisper your your Twitter handle at me. I'll just respond to that tweet. So check it out soon. All right. Cool. Wow, what a random stream it's been. It's been fun though. It's been lots of fun. All right, I'm going to check this in. Update after stream 2019 12. This is like the worst check-in comment ever made.
Today we're gonna code lots lots with Mr. Kim Phil.
Mortal Wombat.
Amazing you'll be.
Mortal Wombat. I wonder whether you're Australian with a name like that. All right. At least I had a commit message. Exactly, right? What will we do for next week? Okay, so for next week, this is what we'll do for next week. To tell you the truth, I'm actually pretty keen to move on past this one. So I might even do a little bit of work before the next stream so we can finish it off, because I want to move on to some other fun ones as well. All right, let me show you what I reckon we'll work on next week. So we've got the basics of this going. I need to clean it up a little bit. Let's do this next bit where it goes, expands out here, and then we have that section there. So the shopping cart, basically. Okay, and that's also got to factor into here as well, because that's something I haven't done, right? Which is like when the user goes and hits here, it adds it up into the shopping cart. So we'll do that as well. Boink. Beautiful. So that's the plan. So what's next? Yeah, that's cool. Let's say shopping cart screen. Cleaning up the mess I've made. All right, fantastic. Now, let me have a look. So I think I've finished my commit. I'm so random. So that's in there. Alrighty. Should we raid someone? I don't know. I feel like we should. But in the meantime, I'm going to come to my ending screen here. And I'm going to roll some credits. Let's see if this works. Oh, look at this. Thanks for hanging out. All right, it's over my chat. MJ Freelancing for the cheers. Lots of follows. Mortal Wombat, Drolly, Philip, Baltazar, XVTSX, Yawn69, Rushams, Gentoo Games, Offwood, Jim Walker the second, Sid Mobnet, Brian Lagunas, Mason AF, Virginaro, MJ Freelancing again. What the heck? And thanks again, Dragon, for resubscribing. I think you might have gone. So look, thanks everyone. I'm going to shoot off now. Everyone have a great weekend. My pleasure sharing the passion. So take care, everyone. And I'll see you next time. No worries. Thanks, Tim. Thanks to Crypto. Hello, Reza. Bye for now. Actually, I'm going to raid. I feel bad if I don't raid. So if you're around, let's see if there's someone to raid. Thanks, Naweed. Oh, Dr. Mikachu. Yeah, that might be somebody to raid. Actually, C# Fritz is on at the moment.
They give life-changing experiences to families battling cancer.
Why don't we raid Fritz? Yeah, thanks, Travi. Fritz is what on earth's Fritz doing? All right, let's raid Fritz. So let's give him a raid. Say hi to Fritz, and I'll see you next time. Thanks, Ironx Jr. All right, I think we're ready to raid. See you next time.